Hi, I'm Christine from the Land O'Lakes Library, and I'm here at the Regency Park Fresh Kitchen. I'm here to make s'mores cookie bars, so let's get cooking. So we have a stick of butter, we have some brown sugar, egg, vanilla extract, baking powder, flour, salt, and then crushed up graham cracker crumbs, some marshmallow fluff, and some mini chocolate chips. And those are our ingredients. So let's get baking. First, we'll mix all of the flour ingredients together. We'll put in the flour, the baking powder, the salt, and the graham cracker crumbs. And then you'll just whisk those together. So they should come out kind of like this, all homogeneous. Then that's all good to go. You put that bowl aside and we'll have all the wet ingredients together. You'll put in the butter and the brown sugar. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna cream these together and kind of make them as homogeneous slurry. So you'll take your hand mixer, or you can do it by hand, whatever you'd like to do, and then we'll go ahead. Then every once in a while, you want to scrape the sides of the bowl just to make sure you get all the edges and anything that might not have been mixed in. So it should kind of look like this, where it looks all the same. There's no bits of butter. There are some bits of sugar, so I'll keep mixing a little bit more. All right, so that looks good. We're gonna switch over to the whisk in a moment, and we're gonna put in our vanilla and our 1 egg. And then you'll go ahead and whisk everything together. It should look something like this. Again, no egg bits, everything looks pretty much the same. And now once you get to this spot, we'll swap over back to the spatula. And we will slowly start putting in the flour mixture. I like to do it half at a time just to make sure I've got a good mix, and then I'll put the other half after. You just go ahead and stir around. And once it's almost the same again, we'll put in the rest of the flour. Make sure you scrape all the edges of the bowl to get all the flour in there, and go under and in the middle. Just make sure. Okay, so you have everything here. It should all look the same. It's a little loose of a dough, but that's what we'll put at the bottom of the pan. You'll only want to use about 2/3 to 3/4 of the dough, because you have a bottom layer, and then the top layer will kind of have some of the marshmallow and the chocolate peek through, so it's okay if you have some that leaves over. So get your 9x9 pan, just make sure it's all greased. And I put in about 3/4, and I like to do it in dollops. And you will work with your hands, so make sure you have clean hands. And I like to dollop some in each corner. And then again, clean hands, you'll kind of mush it all into one single layer at the bottom of the pan. I try to get the edges first, since it's the most important part to make sure it can stick together. And I'll use the spatula to help me out a little bit for this. Just make it into one even layer, as best as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now go back to my hands just to finesse everything in together. That looks about good. So I will go wash my hands and I will be right back. Alright, so we're back with clean hands, and the next step is the marshmallow fluff. So marshmallow fluff, really sticky. I'm going to use the same spatula, but you can use another spatula. Just make sure you grease it either with butter or with the non-stick spray. Just makes it so much easier to spread. So I have about a cup, and I'm going to, same thing again, put in dollops around the edges first, and we'll spread that out later with the spatula. Do your best. It's really sticky. It can be very hard to maneuver. You can see it's really difficult to spread, but just do your best. I don't think anyone will complain with a glob of marshmallow. Alright, so here's how it looks. We have a little bit of an edge, but if you can go to the edge, just go ahead and do that. But just make sure there's a layer of marshmallow everywhere. And once that's on there, we'll take the chocolate chips. And I like to reserve a little bit at the end just so that we can sprinkle on top, just so it looks nice. It looks like a lot because it is a lot. So I like to lift it up and kind of shake it around, try to get the chocolate in every single nook and cranny. Some places need a little help. Just move it around. Go ahead and sprinkle some on the edges, whatever you need to do. And since it moved around a lot from spreading the marshmallow, I'm just gonna take the spatula and just make sure the edges are pushed in a little bit. And now we'll be getting messy again. So you want to have the rest of this dough, you're gonna use your hands and press it into a thin disc. And that's what we will use to cover the top. It can be messy because it is supposed to be a little messy. So I kind of take it like this, kind of press it between my hands. And I kind of spread it out into a thin layer, and then I just let it drape. And again, I do up to the corners first, and we can spread it out later. And again, go ahead. Press it out as much as you can. It'll be a lot easier as well if you grease your hands before, depending on how sticky your batter is. So I don't have a lot, but I can take the spatula, kind of spread it out. It's okay if some of the chocolate chips unfurl around, it's all completely fine. And as it bakes, the marshmallow is going to rise up and kind of bubble a little bit. So either way, it will look all good in the end. Alright, so kind of how it'll look. It could be either a lot more cookie dough on top or a lot less. Whatever you do, as long as it's all even, it'll all come out fine. And you'll wash your hands, put it in the oven, and then we'll be right back with the finished product. Alright, so we're back with our s'mores, and it was in the oven at 350 for 27 minutes. Just bake until it's lightly golden brown. You'll see around the edges a little golden brown. And you let it cool until it's completely cool. I like to do it on a wire rack, and you'll just let it set until it's completely room temperature. And what I like to do is I take a knife, I run it along the edges. Do the best to kind of just get it out there, because since it's all cooled down, it can take a bit. This gives a little wiggle room. So once you get there, these little overhangs, I like to do parchment and do it a little bit to the edges, because you can kind of gently pull. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but do your best to get the bars out. So again, here it looks like this. Go ahead and gently pull. If you see one edge, you kind of have some difficulty. Do your best to get your knife and run it around. This one doesn't want to go. We will get it out. So now we have our s'mores out. Use whatever help you can get. Lift it out here. I put it on parchment. Then we'll cut off a little piece. And there it is. You've got cookie dough at the bottom, some marshmallow and chocolate chips all over, and there you go. That is the s'mores cookie bar. I hope you enjoyed baking along with me, and thanks for joining. Have a great one.